Hello guys, back again. This is the match preview for Everton v Liverpool. Listen, it's a lot to talk about, and it really, let's be honest, it's more than just this game. Um, we all well know that Rafa's in a position now that it's either the next few games he's gonna go, and he's a bit of a scapegoat for like what's going on actually at this club from top to bottom. It's completely rotten. And Rafa Benitez now is again another manager under pressure at Everton at this stage of the season. Listen, I know myself that he's made a lot of mistakes. He has. He's quite stubborn, and to me, I have been, let's say, kind of not supportive with him of him. I've been on the fence, but I can't blame everything on him. The players are a massive reason for why we are where we are. But that Brentford game, the decisions, sorry, can't speak. The mistakes he made in that game is unforgivable. I can't seem to process how he cannot bring on a striker when he's 1-0 down with 20 minutes to go. I can't. He speaks a lot of sense. He talks well. He's got a lot of knowledge of the game, and he's had a great career as a manager. But for the life of me, I don't know how. Basically, every Everton fan has said the same thing about his decisions on the Brentford match. I don't understand how he cannot bring a striker on. I can't see how he's looking in that game thinking Rondon can last the full 90 minutes in, he's going to do something. It was his best game for Everton, but it wasn't a very good performance by him yet again. But we needed something more. They sat back the whole game and we just didn't create a clear chance. It's embarrassing. It's one word for that whole performance, embarrassing. We was just dying to have another striker on that pitch or a few more bodies in the box. And he just didn't bring the young players on. I mean, what's the point of signing a new contract? Ellis Sims, what's the point, lad? If you're getting the likes of Rondon playing the full 90 minutes and you not having a sniff, what's the point? You can say youngsters stop putting too much pressure on them. I've never seen in the past 5 years so many youngsters have a massive influence on a team's performance. For any side I've seen across the world, like youngsters these days are starting to become a lot more confident. They've got the social media, they get a lot of support from various people. I feel like they're more confident than ever to perform at a high level. And I just don't understand why you have the likes of Dobbin, Sims and Tosin on the bench and you don't bring any of them on. You bring Gray on, who whips a few balls in, but comes to nothing because we haven't got bodies in the box. What was there to lose? We've been on a bad run of form. There seemed to be like no desperation in that Everton squad to go and get an equaliser, and no desperation from Benitez, which he probably doesn't want to show because he doesn't think we're at that stage yet, but we are. We've got the next run of games coming up. We don't want to get to a position in December, January that we're in the bottom three or fighting to get out of, staying out of the bottom three. That's not good enough, and that's worrying because it's only, you can say all these injuries coming back, players coming back from injuries like Calvert-Lewin and Decore's getting back to being fit, and Mina. It doesn't matter because once they come back, someone else will get injured who's kind of part of the squad and vital. Listen, we've had the span of our team ripped out, but it's no excuse for the players coming off the bench to not do a job for us. It's just simply not good enough, and they're proven to us, and we've known this for years anyway, but we've proven to a lot of people now who don't support Everton that these players aren't good enough to play for that team. and play in the Premier League week in, week out. But to the game, sorry, it's been 5 minutes since I've started, but listen, we all know what Liverpool are doing right now. You know, it's well documented. They are one of the best sides in world football. And you know, they've got 3 players in the top 3 scoring charts in the Premier League this season. If you look at this as an outsider, you can only see one winner, and you can see it because of crazy scores I've been seeing for the past year or 2 or 3 years, whatever. I won't be surprised if this team would Everton get beat 6 or 7, 8-0 at home. I would not be surprised. It's all there for Liverpool to do that. But it's funny because Everton are just a weird club, the most frustrating club to support in the top flight. I don't care if you're Norwich and you're up and down every season. There's consistency there, you know what I mean? They keep going down and up. It's consistent for them. But for us, we're just utter dross every season. I'll say for the past 5-6 years, it's been horrendous. And the only way we're going to pick up anything is because of the fans getting on their back and pushing them. We know we showed a bit of fighting spirit against Tottenham. We got a point from it. But it shouldn't have to come to that. I mean, if you're not up for the Premier League, if you're not up for the derby, Merseyside derby, and you're an Everton player, then you shouldn't be at this club. Same goes to Liverpool. If you're not up for this derby, you shouldn't be playing, and you shouldn't be wearing that shirt. You know, we will react, and I don't. In the back of my mind, we will get battered, but well, in my heart, I think we will get battered. And that sounds mad, but in my head, I think we're going to have a fighting performance and we'll either lose 2-1 or win. Something like that. You know, I wouldn't be surprised because that's the Everton way. And it's a get out of jail card, to be honest, because we always seem to now in recent years perform against Liverpool and put them to the test. We give them a game. But it shouldn't have to come to that. You know, this is the whole point of the past few years, is we can't beat struggling teams. You can't beat teams who sit back. But when it comes to the big games, we go all out there. Listen, of course, I want us to win. Of course, I want us to win. I do not want us to see us lose. I don't want us to see us in this position. But it's a win. I think it's more than enough now for Benitez and the hierarchy at this club to know that these players who replace our key players aren't good enough. And I think that's enough for them to be sold on next January or in the summer or in future dates. They're not good enough to replace. Listen, it's just terrifying at the thought we're playing them tomorrow and it's their form against our form. But, you know, with Merseyside derby's form doesn't always come into play, as we've seen in recent years. But still, there's not a single bit of hope I've got for this team. There's nothing from the Brentford game which gives me an ounce of hope for us to do anything. If there was something, I'd be like, well, there we go. I've got to hold on to that. I'm not holding on to anything. And realistically, we should be getting absolutely battered here. It's just worrying times for the club. Like I said, everyone's blaming Benitez. Which, you know, I'm starting from each individual game now. It's getting worse and worse of my opinion of him and the way he sets up. With this match coming up against Liverpool, I feel, listen, if quality beats us, quality beats us. But it's not always the way when it comes to Merseyside derby. It's kind of who fights more. It's also a lot of luck involved as well, the bounce of the ball and whatnot, and just concentration. But I feel like the best way we're going to have to set up for this game is that we have to match them in terms of hard working, passion, and just can't say quality because we're not as good as them. But I feel like we've got to have to set up like them. I feel like we're going to have to do a 4-3-3, which I don't think that's in Benitez's mind. I still think he's going to play the 2 in the middle, which is Decore and Allen. But if you have a brain, Benitez, I honestly believe that Decore's not fully fit yet. He's come back, but he's not match sharp. It's 2 months out. It is a long time to just adjust yourself and get back into it. I would happily, and I never thought to say this since he's arrived at Goodison, Delph needs to be in the middle as well, just like they do. They have 3 central midfielders, a defensive midfielder as well. You know what I mean? They have 3 in the centre, and they obviously have their Liverpool. They have the wingers, and then obviously a false number 9 or just a striker. We need to match the same formation as them. I just feel like that's the only way we're going to compete with them, because they're just going to rule us in midfield. They're just going to be going through us like a knife and butter. You know, I feel like Decore just needs our support as he's just come back. Alan had a little issue as well, so I don't know how his situation is and how his body's feeling. But I feel like we need Delph in there just to shore things up, because our 2 central defenders, Keane and Godfrey, are just not going to cope with that front 3 and that midfield coming through them all the time. So I feel like we just need that, a bit of stability with Delph. Delph just do his job, tackles, passes, and just leaves Decore to be a bit more attacking minded, and have Alan just kind of like floating about everywhere. That's what I feel like we need, but Delph just needs to stay in the middle, and I just think that's the way we can compete against them. I would have Richarlison down the middle. Please do not start Rondon, and I can't see it because Richarlison only missed a game because of a ban, but it was massively important in that Brentford game that we needed Richarlison, and he wasn't there. It was a massive miss for us. And then I'll start with Gray on the left and Delph on the right. I think Townsend on the right. I think Gordon needs to be dropped. I think he should become a bit of an impact player coming on, a bit of fresh legs, a bit of a different way of playing. I just don't think he's a starter for Everton at the moment, and I think we're heaping too much pressure on him. But that's the way I just think. We just hope Liverpool have a bad day. You know, they're not unbeatable. You know, we've already seen multiple times this season they've been frail at the back. Yes, Virgil van Dijk might have been, slowly getting back into his match sharpness, which I totally understand. He's been out for basically the whole season last year. But there's still frailties in that squad, and I can still see us causing them a few issues if this is the lineup they pick. And I'm not an expert in nothing, but I feel like most Everton fans here would agree with what I'm saying and the lineup, because you've got to just can't just throw players back in and expect them to play at top level again. You need them to have a bit of support. We did this with Gbamin against Wolves. He hasn't played forever, basically, and he puts him alongside, I can't even remember, it was Delph Allen or something. It just did not work. He needed that extra support in midfield. It's a hard role to play in football, a central midfielder. There's a lot to do, and if you've been out for that long, you will be affected and you will be getting turned over most of the time. I just don't really know what to call this game, to be honest. It just could go either way. I'm going out with hopefully going out with a few friends to watch it. They're all Blues. I couldn't sit with a red. Obviously I will be wherever I'm going. There'll be Reds, majority Reds in there. I'm just hoping I don't. I'm just, in a sense, I want us to get completely embarrassed, because I want us to show that the position of the club and where we're at, it's going to be a big headline. You know what I mean? It's going to be at the forefront of every paper and every news channel, that this is the position we are in and this is who we actually are as a club. And it's gonna be targeted at Benitez, but it needs to be addressed that the hierarchy of this club, the board, needs to be at fault here and show that, like, we need to, it's if we replace managers all you want, it's not worked. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Benitez up to now in terms of what he's done for us and tactics wise, and his stubbornness and that, and his failure to understand what the fans want, it's still not going to be, I can't see anyone else coming in doing a better job. I can't see them, because these players aren't simply good enough. and it's the board's fault for bringing these players in, and it's just been a complete mess for years on end. And we all know this. It's been addressed a load of times now with our net spend, and the FFP has ruined us this year, and it will do as long as these players stay. We might have to sell some bigger players for us to get a few group of players in who can actually do a job, because our squad's so thin. And you know, like I said, this game is just absolutely massive for us. You know, even if we, to be honest, if we lose this and beat Arsenal, it's as long as there is a win on the way and there's some sort of positive performance, I will feel a bit happier. Wouldn't, you know, if you lost, but there was a performance there and it was a fight, which, you know, there should be anyway. If there is no fight, we'll get absolutely slaughtered. But they're gonna have to, because the fans are gonna be really on their back, and I can't see a way back for most of them players if they don't put any pride with that shirt on against Liverpool tomorrow night. It's just, we're just tired, us Everton fans, with this. We're just tired of the same thing every season, the same thing, and it's not going to get any better with these players at the club. But we can't get rid of them right now, and I feel like Benitez, honestly, if you want to save yourself in a way, if you want to have a bit of the Everton fans backing, you're going to have to be a bit ruthless, mate. I know you're not going to see this video. I know a lot of fans will see this video as well. Listen, if you want to get on our side, at least with the dross you have got in this squad, please be ruthless and put some youngsters in. Honestly, please. Because if, I swear to God, if we're like 1-0 down or something against Liverpool and he puts Rondon on, I can't do it. And I'm begging as well him not to start a Wobie. I bet that guy does not care at all about, you may even see the post he puts on Instagram, there's nothing, he doesn't care. It's just another club to him, and he'll just move to somewhere else and play the same dross style of play he always does. The guy's just awful at football. He honestly hasn't got a football brain at all, and he's not an Everton player. I just can't wait till the day we get rid of him, because he is one of the worst players I've seen in an Everton shirt in my life. And I'm not even just saying that, he is absolutely dross. And the saddest thing is, he's the only player who has scored for us in the last 3 or 4 games. But he's absolutely horrendous, and him and Rondon has no impact on the game whatsoever. Absolutely no impact. I could go in there and do a similar job to them, possibly better. I'll give more fight, I'll give more physical, I'll be more physical. I'll be really trying to do something. If I'm not good enough as a player, I'll try and do something to win the fans' heart. They're just not good enough, and I'm begging them not to start against Liverpool. And I'm just begging Benitez to start that lineup, which I've already mentioned. We're just going to have to wait and see. And I'm hoping when I do a video tomorrow, I'll be absolutely buzzing. And I'm hoping it'll be the next step for us to just get out of this rot. And all I really want from the season now, because these players are never going to get to the level of us competing for Europe. Let's just be straight with that. It's just a season of survival, this. And I'm hoping we will survive, and not to the point where it's stressing us out and all our hairs on our scalp is falling out, because I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready. I'm too young for this. I'm just hoping we just safely have a mediocre season and we finish about 10th or 11th or 12th, and we're safe and sound for relegation. I'm hoping there's 3 worse teams than us, like drastically worse than us, that go down, because this is a massive game in terms of just everything about the club and where we're at. It's massive. Let's just hope that the boys pull something out the bag, because the fans deserve this. Anyway, I'm off, I'm out. I'm happy I've done a video, not a match reaction video, an actual other type of video for this channel. But it's not a very good one. And the mood's really low at this club right now. Like myself, I'm feeling really low, and I'm just not looking forward to supporting these players and supporting this club for tomorrow night. Yeah, it's just something I'm dreading, but I'll be watching. I'm just hoping some miracle will happen that we'll beat the Reds across the park. Anyway, I'm Stuart. Again, I'm out. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.